Well, hello and welcome to another Daily Dominion. It is Wednesday, and on a Wednesday, we traditionally have two sets paired up, two expansions paired up. This time, not Menagerie, but rather Cornucopia and Guilds, and three cards that return from yesterday's Hinterlands daily in Souk, Haggler, and Develop. Strong cards, although Souk is not as centralizing as it was yesterday. Develop might be relevant as the Bane for the Young Witch, but I actually don't think it will be all too relevant for that, because early on you don't go for Young Witch, you go for Remake, and then it's hard to justify putting in the Young Witch. But I am getting ahead of myself. Let me show you the kingdom. We have these cards. Crossroads costs 2 in the corner there, where I'm having the camera, and Crossroads also is the only village and makes for quite the interesting terminal situation. Also, we have lots of stuff going on with the on-gain and on-trash of Nomads, the on-gain of Souk, Hagglers, on-buy, and also Farmlands on-gain, trashing card from your hand, costing one exactly two more, that costs exactly two more than it. Remake is able to trash your starting cards and also Nomads into better cards, or yeah, I guess also into Farmlands, and it might cascade into some insane stuff here. I've already played this kingdom earlier, and there is a lot going on. The deck we're aiming for is one fueled by Menagerie draws, and for sure early on, turning the estates into menageries is great with Remake. And then later on, with some green in the deck, you want to go for Crossroads draw. And you pair that up with some desirable 5-cost cards like Haggler and Margrave. Souk is not as great here because you are going to probably have big hand sizes, and you want to spend your terminal space maybe more on the plus buy and drawing 3 cards than just a bit of money, or even on the haggling. And the Margrave attack itself is probably not that detrimental here as it might be in other kingdoms, just because Menagerie is around, and Margrave hitting a hand with duplicates might even be able to cycle those duplicates away, so you get to activate the Menagerie instead of having a dud that turn. So especially early on, you probably don't want to go for Margrave. Later on might be fine. And what do I think about Develop? Here, we might go for one later on, but early on, the focus is just on Remake and getting the deck clean, getting the coppers out. Might buy a Souk or Remake into Souk at some point, and yeah, then see how we go from there. Kingdom plot looks very promising to build some sort of engine, and indeed, I guess the draw is there in Menagerie, Margrave, and also some of it in Crossroads. The thinning is there in Remake, super solid, and also Souk. And Develop gains, we have 3 cards that give plus buy. We have Develop, Remake, Farmland, Haggler to also somehow gain you extra cards or remodel them. And thus, yeah, there's a lot going on in this one. Opening wise, I think it's super clear you want to go for Remake just because it's so important to thin out your starting cards. You could pair that up with Develop if you're extra greedy, but also that might just lead to sadness if the two collide. And otherwise, you might just want to um, go for shop on the 4-3, and on the 5-2, you're a bit sad that you pass up on the chance to buy a 5-cost, but Remake is just so much more important. And probably go for Crossroads on the 2. It is a card you want in the deck, although you could also argue to just skip your 2-cost buy on the 5-2. We, however, have the 3-4, so we can go for shop and remake. And AI goes for develop and remake. And for us, already we see that our remake is going to miss all of our estates. So that's sad, but we do get to put in a menagerie. And that's probably not going to draw anything here, but at least I did some stuff. Next turn, we are going to have the Crossroads and the remake in there. I wonder if it's correct to just add a second remake. The Crossroads is going to draw us 2 cards in this hand. I mean, we could also buy a Souk and trash his estate, but it's not that enticing. Yeah, the more I think about it, the more I like adding a remake here. Just to, I mean, have the chance of having that hand, trashing 2 coppers and 2 estates, and yeah, being pretty happy about our position. We even get to trigger a shuffle here with mainly good stuff in it. And this now could be a silver, or we just say, okay, we really, really want to secure the Menagerie split, so we go for Menagerie. Or this could also be a develop. Yeah, it's kind of a question of philosophy and what you want to focus on. Maybe really the develop might be the best thing for us. Now let's deny AI another menagerie and see what we draw here. We might not immediately draw, but we can now turn this remake into, okay, there is another card. That is not menagerie. Can now turn this remake into a Haggler and then draw here. And this Haggler is going to gain us a Nomads and a Develop on top of that. And now we are clean. We have 6 of the menageries. We do have to discard a bit here, but that's fine. And do get to activate them rather easily. Okay, that's amazing, an amazing draw. No, we only got 5 of the menageries. Wow, AI really contested them. Didn't expect that. But yeah, now this Crossroads could, or this develop could kill our remake, or we remake the nomads into a Margrave and just remake the copper, then then develop the Margrave into nomads and farmland or something like that. Sounds fun. And trash this shop. We didn't want that anyways, for another Margrave and another nomads. We don't want these cards on top, but we can just now turn this first farmland into a province and be on our way to have nice future turns. I wonder whether it's okay to now add a second crossroads or whether we just want to add a nomads on top of that. And the nomads would be a much better target for like something like remake or develop, but the crossroads might be necessary for reliability. Let's be greedy and go for the nomads. If we get Margrave attacked here, we will probably try to discard one of the nomads if we draw into it. Yeah, we have it, and probably discard everything but the Margrave. Yeah, I think it's fine. I didn't think about this decision all too much. And yeah, just get to activate all of these beautiful menageries a lot. Do we already want to remake something here? I guess we can play we have to play the Crossroads first anyways. What does our sequence of actions want to look like? We could remake the Nomads into whatever, into a Haggler, then remake the Haggler into farmlandsing one of the Nomads into gold, draw, and then develop the Margrave into another farmlands. Wow, this is turning complicated. And Nomads? And then finally play a Haggler, I guess. Yeah, this sounds like it's going to be funny. So why not do that? And go for this farmland nomads into gold. Draw up here. Develop, maybe, what do we want to develop? Rather the Margrave or the Haggler? What is better for us to play? I guess the Haggler is nicer to be able to pick up. I guess it doesn't matter all too much actually. So we get to develop this into farmland, which becomes a province, and gain a nomads and draw everything up. And here we could even just say, okay, we play the nomads instead of the Haggler, although I think Haggler is the better option because it allows us to turn a farmlands into another province and then gain another nomads with that. And here, if we get Margrave attacked, it would be nice to discard some of these farmlands provinces exactly for that reason. And this seems like it's going to be just a full-on dud. I guess we can develop the Haggler and should develop the Haggler into a farmland, which gains us another province and a nomads, and then we can buy another Crossroads. Hopefully we get Margrave attacked here. I didn't see, yeah, okay, we do get Margrave attacked, so we get to discard these 3 cards. We only have 1 gold in the deck, so it's better to keep that. And yeah, what do we do here? Again, not the greatest draws, but we saw so many of the menageries there in a set state. I suppose we again just play the remodel, gain ourselves some duchies. We could also regain that Haggler that we trashed, and then farmland into province. Yeah, and the deck I imagined us to have isn't really coming into play just because we didn't have the greatest draws on these last 2 or 3 turns. But yeah, AI is really struggling because we're so far ahead in points. Okay. I guess there's this kind of sadness that can happen. And while AI now is activating all its Menagerie hands, but yeah, I mean, is it going to find its Margrave? It is, so we discard these 3 cards and see what AI is doing. Yeah, piles are getting low, and we're finally getting some Menagerie activations in. This Menagerie is never going to activate with the provinces there, so we can just draw another green card before we play the Crossroads. And now finally we should be able to close this out. This is a win in hand already. I'm not sure what is the last card there. I believe a farmland? I'm a bit too lazy to think about it too much. Indeed, it was a farmland. And now we get to develop I guess, the Haggler into farmland into province, nomads, get to draw one more time, and then get to remake some nomads into duchies, and finally buy the last province. And yeah, 14 turns was much slower, or not much slower, but quite a bit slower than my fastest playthrough, which was just 11 turns, although there I cheated a bit with an undo just to try to get it faster. But still, we did manage to pump 7 provinces in the deck, lots of duchies, lots of farmlands, and AI's deck somewhat staggered, even though it managed to snatch so many menageries. I really was sure early on that we had gobbled up so many menageries that we had won the split. When we had that long decision where we decided what to go for. And yeah, I think especially early on and late on, there is a lot of swinginess as to where you draw your menageries, where you draw the provinces that you then pile up. I guess you could, as I said, work around that with Young Witch to discard some, but I really don't think it's worth the terminal space that much. And yeah, I don't know. The synergies with nomads, with farmlands are super, super nice. So this one is a fun one to play or wall, but also, as I said, can lead to some sadness. I think we had like a whole shuffle that was a bit murked due to weird menagerie lineups. And we also had that one complete dud turn here where we just drew all of these green cards. Anyways, that wraps up this video, and I will try to catch you in the next one. And until then, goodbye.